I don't know how Washington could take this chance. I don't know why Washington would want to take this chance after what's gone on now in Philadelphia and Indianapolis. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me three times. I don't know who.
Those who are tuned in, we got a couple people already on board for our 2-hour adventure here on Birds 365 with McMullen and McDonald. I have complete faith that you know why I'm calling it a Throwback Thursday, because it's a throwback to a former quarterback in this town. It wasn't all that long ago, but he's all of a sudden become a well-traveled quarterback. We'll be discussing it linked today. John McMullen, Joe McDonald here with you on Birds 365. The quarterback carousel continued to spin yesterday, Johnny Mac, and we knew it was a distinct possibility that it was going to spin out in Indianapolis. Coming home to the NFC East for Carson Wentz, huh?
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this one from 18 different angles. It's ironic. Where do we start? I think, Chris Ballard's one of those guys that nobody criticizes. In this town, Howie Roseman did a great job getting what he got for Carson Wentz. But then people say, well, he created that mess, which he partially did. A lot of people had their thumbs in that pie, so to speak. And now Chris Ballard's like, what a job he got to get a couple third-round picks, essentially. And more than that, the salary dump of getting the Washington Commanders to take on Carson Wentz, who looks like, as Jody Mack just identified him officially, as a journeyman, which you see the quarterback desperation in this league. I don't know how Washington could take this chance. I don't know why Washington would want to take this chance after what's gone on now in Philadelphia and Indianapolis. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me three times. I don't know who. Ron Rivera is sticking his neck out. Frank Reich said he was sticking his neck out. Ron Rivera is sticking his neck out. And maybe it's not even Ron Rivera. I do know Ron, when he was back in Carolina, really liked Carson Wentz. But we all really liked Carson Wentz early in his career. We all thought he was going to be a star. Injuries, off the field stuff, everything in this toxic cocktail of turning from potential franchise quarterback to a journeyman. Look, I've seen enough. He's not going to be that guy. I'm the first to admit I made a mistake. I thought he was going to be great. All right. Turn the page, move on. That's what the Eagles did. They took at the time and it's still the largest dead cap hit in history. That'll be broken soon enough. But we'll see who's the next to create the new precedent. But I think the funniest part to me was, Carson here had the he had the bat phone, man. He could get a hold of Jeffrey Lurie anytime he wanted. In Indianapolis, Irsay was just, there was the report from the Athletic that he wanted to have a meeting with Irsay to clear the air, and said no. The owner said, no, I'm done with you. I don't want to hear it. And I don't think it's the on the field stuff, Jody. I mean, he was okay. He was terrible late in the season.
Right.
Statistically, he was fine. Now, I'm not a big stats guy. You know that. We differ sometimes on that. I think, the film doesn't look as good as the statistics necessarily. But you can talk yourself into it from that standpoint, from on the field. Bottom line, though, and this is not political. This is not political. He's out in Indianapolis because he wouldn't get vaccinated. And it has nothing to do with the vaccination. It has to do with being the leader of a football team and those being the rules, and you being available for the rest of your teammates in a playoff run, in a big situation, and also even less, setting an example for everybody else. And Carson knew he was on a short rope. He knew how things went badly, and he decided to go down that route. And that kind of defines him. From being around Carson Wentz, one thing everybody has said, headstrong, headstrong, headstrong. I mean, he's going to do what he wants to do. And Mark Murphy already coined the term complicated fella, and that's already taken. And that's taken by the best quarterback in football. Carson's a complicated fellow himself, but he's not good enough to get away with being a complicated fella. That's my summation, Joe.
I agree with you on almost all parts. I don't want to dismiss. I would just say keep it in its proper perspective. And this is not going to be complimentary. The whole refusal to get vaccinated and then test positive and miss a week of practice. Did it play against them in Indianapolis? Yes. Did it further point out his lack of leadership? Yes. But I think it was already ingrained before that. This was just like icing on the cake. That was a major bugaboo here in Philadelphia. That other than his offensive linemen that he'd buy presents for or go shooting with, the guys in the locker room just didn't like him. Here in Philadelphia, he didn't lead. They didn't take charge behind Carson Wentz. That was well in place. Frank Reich, when he made the deal, thought, well, I can pump him. I get him the lead here. When I was in Philly, that wasn't much of a problem. Well, Frank, you were gone for 2018, 19, and 20. So, no, sorry, Frank, you weren't able to embolden Carson Wentz in your locker room. I think the vaccination thing was just, like I said, added to an already existing problem. And I think that there were people within the organization that absolutely said, Frank, you got your shot, and guess what? You were wrong. You couldn't make him into a leader of men. And oh, by the way, he was only okay on the field. So if he's not going to lead and he's going to fly in the face of what's best for the team by not getting vaccinated, and he can't win big games when the money's on the line, yeah, we don't need this guy, and we're moving on. Yeah, I'm not giving Chris Ballard all that much credit. I guess you have to give him some because there were
well, he's one of those guys you can't criticize. I don't know why.
I'm going to go ahead and criticize him right now. Whether you say you can or can't, I'm going
I've already criticized him. I'm behind you.
He didn't get a whole hell of a lot in return for Carson Wentz. And, oh, by the way, you can say, oh, he got something for nothing. Well, no, here's what you do. Less than 12 months later, you got significantly less than what you gave up for the guy. And, oh, by the way, with a team, the most everybody picked to go to the playoffs, you didn't go to the playoffs. So how did that work out for a year later, Mr. General Manager of the Colts? Not too good.
Well, think about this. When the Eagles take Indianapolis's pick, if they take it, or if they trade it on April 28th, that pick, Carson's already gone.
Right.
Before they even take the pick. Before they even take the pick, he's gone. So, yeah, Chris. And the bottom line is Chris has he's built a pretty good roster. But if you don't get the quarterback right, it doesn't matter. And they're going to be at 6 consecutive years, I think, with a different starting quarterback. Now, a little bit bad luck in there. Obviously, Andrew Luck retiring early. Nobody saw that coming. So you had the one season with Jacoby Brissett, and then Phillip Rivers was, fine, but he was late in his career and evident, and obviously retired. So that's the big issue with that and the talk about Chris Ballard. You got to get the quarterback right. But beyond that, Jody, and the only break, I want to go back to the vaccination for this particular point, only because it pissed off the owner. It pissed off the owner. I don't care about everybody else. There's plenty of guys. Darius Leonard's on the same team. He's an all-pro linebacker. He's got no issues because he performed at his position at the Aaron Rodgers-like level. You can get away with it. But once you piss off the owner and you're the quarterback, it doesn't even matter what Frank Reich says. It doesn't even matter what Chris Ballard says. And that's what Carson Wentz did. He pissed off the owner.
Well, Washington's going to have to deal with Carson Wentz and whether you are or aren't vaccinated, because we've made the strides that we have against COVID. It's going to become less and less of a story as we go forward. But it was a damn big story for them this year. And yes, you admitted to being wrong about Carson Wentz. I've done this before. I'll do it quickly again here. I was a major Carson Wentz defender at the beginning of last year. Probably more so because so many people were so outspoken about Nick Foles. that Nick Foles was the answer. If the Eagles had kept Nick Foles, if Nick Foles was still the Eagle quarterback, Nick Foles got on a magic carpet ride, had a great run, and basically it came to an end thereafter. And he had a year here in Philadelphia where he stepped in, won one playoff game, but then lost another one and decided to go free agent, which he should have done. He got a nice big fat payday from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Good on you, Nick. You stunk. You went to Jacksonville, you were like every other Jacksonville quarterback. You couldn't play. And he didn't play at all this year. So I just felt the need to balance the scales for those who were putting Nick Foles on too big a pedestal for what type of quarterback he was and was going to be going forward. That was a mistake on my part because Carson couldn't hold up his end of the bargain. I defended Carson Wentz more so to thwart the overabundant Nick Foles fans, the Folesian nation, which I thought was ridiculous. But I watched him go backwards. I watched Carson Wentz go backwards with my very eyes. And as the weeks went on in Dougie P's last year, I got to a point where I said, they can't play him anymore. He's the worst quarterback in the NFL. He was playing like the worst quarterback statistically and with my own two eyes, the worst one in the NFL.
Yeah, worst starting quarterbacks.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I said Jalen Hurts should have gotten in there even before Doug Peterson pulled the plug on him, which I'll tell you is as big a problem as I have with Carson Wentz as anything else. John, you're right. This past year, you look up the stats. If you watch enough of the Colts game, you can, in judging the entire season, say Carson Wentz wasn't bad. Nobody could say Carson Wentz was the worst quarterback in the NFL last year. Not even close. He came up real small the last 2 weeks of the season where there's added influence and importance, and that's on him. But he wasn't the worst quarterback in the NFL, and it wasn't even close. But he just doesn't handle his business well. I don't think he's got the mindset. I don't think he's got the toughness. And here's what's really bugging me this morning, because we already got someone chiming in on our stream. And our good buddy Barry Brooks said this on NBC Sports Philly. I was watching this morning. With the acquisition of Carson Wentz, it makes the Washington Commanders the favorite in the NFC East. Are you kidding me? Would somebody really go there?
I'm not going there over Dallas, number one, even though in
over
Dallas,
the Eagles. You right now, you think the Washington Commanders have a better roster than the Eagles?
I think they're in the same, I think they're in the same.
Make a pick, McMahon. Get off the fence. Eagles or Washington? Who's got a better roster right now?
Washington.
Really?
I thought Washington.
Wow.
I thought Washington had a better roster last year. And remember, they were in run, and they had all the problems with COVID at the at the end of the season at the key moments, and we all know what they had to play at quarterback. And say what you want about Carson Wentz, and look, I don't think they should have went that direction. I started the show with that. I would have went in a different direction, but he's better than what they had, and Taylor Heineke. He's certainly better than Garrett Gilbert. He's better than what they had. Now, I look at Washington and the Jonathan Allens and the Deron Paynes, and, Chase Young will be back, and Montez Sweat will be back in theory, and all that talent on the defensive side of the ball. We'll see if they can get Brandon Sheriff back. It seems they always do. Terry McLaurin's a great player. Antonio Gibson, I think, is one of the more underrated players. I think they got some players, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think Carson's very good. I'd rather have Jalen Hurts than Carson Wentz right now. But, we're talking, and we've been citing those NFL.com rankings because I liked them, and I thought they were good, and I thought they were fair.
Yeah, where was Carson Wentz?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So Jalen was at 17. Where are you going to put Carson? You just said he wasn't the worst. Where are you going to put him? 22, 23, somewhere in that range?
Yeah, in the 20s for sure.
It's now up from 28 to 22. You get a little bit closer. I'd rather have Jalen Hurts. I think he's a better quarterback at this stage. I never thought I'd be saying that, but here I am saying that. But I do think Washington is still, it's what we're all talking about with the Eagles. Should they build around Carson Wentz? They need so much. That's what everyone tells me. They need so much. They don't have anything on defense. Well, Washington has a lot on defense, and they got better playmakers. I got news for you. People in Philadelphia might think Miles Sanders is better.
You think Terry McLaurin's going to be better than Devontae Smith this upcoming year?
I think they're similar in the fact that, I think Terry's a better player right now. I think Devontae has a higher ceiling. I'll say that. I think Devontae has a higher ceiling. But can you take it? We've been talking about this for days, Jody. Can you take advantage of that ceiling without a vehicle to get you the football consistently? When we talk about other receivers coming in,
you got the vehicle of Carson Wentz throwing it to Terry McLaurin.
I get it, but Terry McLaurin's been going through this since he's been in the NFL, and he's proven that he can overcome lesser than stellar quarterback play at times and still put up big numbers. And they also have a different philosophy on the offensive side of the football than the Eagles, who are run first, run heavy, and we'll see if that changes. But we got Randy Brown waiting, so we should probably get to our first break.
All right.
The legendary, I'm going to call him legendary special teams coach in the Baltimore Ravens, and the guy who has mentored the best kicker in the history of football for years and years and years. And he also used to be your mayor, Jody.
How much credit is he going to take for the best?
I take it all. I can't speak for Randy, but I take it all.
Take it all. Why not? Yes, the former mayor of Marlton, New Jersey, and special teams assistant and kicking specialist coach for the Baltimore Ravens. Randy Brown joins us next here on Birds 365.